Safety is definitely there.
Which is important.
Yeah, which is very, very important. Safety is there. And you get the maximum possible outcome.
After one session, right? Versus going back repeatedly if you're just getting small bites.
And then, of course, you need to have the program. You know, the spa or center, like a sauna and all, I mean, they don't care. The more times you will visit them, the better.
Because they get the
right?
entry.
And they use only one product, you know, or one service that they want to just promote and sell that service. The European wellness is not doing that. European wellness is not there to sell you a service. European wellness is not there to sell you a specific product. European wellness is there to create a program, a holistic, multi-dimensional, long-term program,
Personalized
program that allows you to optimize as many aspects of your well-being as possible.
Lovely.
You know, and then I'm repeating myself, but again, it's the mood, it's the psychological status, it's the somatic status, it's the digestion, it's the sleep, sexual function, desire, and ability to perform any sort of physical activity. Okay? It's not only it's not that narrow-minded or generic that, oh, I'm going to gym, or are you going to gym or not going to gym? No. You know, if somebody loves mountain climbing or hiking, and he's in a particular age, in a particular condition that he cannot enjoy that anymore,
then it's no point, isn't it?
That's where European wellness is capable of reversing that, bringing the desire and the ability to live life in full, as much as the person wants or needs.
Perfect.
Okay,
Yeah.
that is the direction. It's a very, very clear idea. You know, it's not the service or the product that is the primary force in that. No, it's the person.
The experience.
The journey, and the somatic and psychological status that person is in.
Wow.
You know, in a prolonged duration of time. Okay.
Very nice, very nice. And I think that is the thing that why I think as people start to realize, you know, you have, you know, accumulated X amount of money, you know, and you realize I want to now make this money work for me. You know, I want to again invest into my biggest asset, which is my body, and I want to do it in a very customized way. You know, in a way that it's like Dr.D mentioned, it's more of an enjoyable journey, more than, oh, you know, I'm paying money to be tortured, or, you know, I have to queue in line again to get my meds and go back home and then chug them down, you know, 20 tablets at a go. That's not life.
Nothing should be forced.
Yeah.
Nothing should be forced, and nothing should be forceful.
Yeah. It should be very fluid, and it should go with the flow, you know,
and
see the results.
It's very important that person gets the results, and he enjoys the results, and he enjoys the process.
Yeah.
Okay, same as I'm enjoying this process. You know, the way, the whole pathway of how we were developing these paradigms. And by the way, it is very dynamic.
Yeah.
It is very dynamic in every particular case, because, and that's what I always tell to the clients, that what you may need or require today is not going to be the same after 3 or 4 months.
Yeah, because your body has already...
Your body has changed, your body has adapted, you have progressed. And so very interesting component here is that to see how people change.
Yeah.
You know, to see how people change. And initially they will have some X amount of complaints and worries, you know, and upon their presentations, usually something very very dangerous, very major, very alarming, and once that is solved, and interestingly is that usually our clients, they have their own family physician, or they still undergo the medical treatment elsewhere in some other medical facility, in a hospital, medical center, whatsoever. And they have that double follow-up here and there. And when they suddenly start improving and they come back to us and they say, oh, my doctor, my physician, he just can't believe, what's happening. But they all say one thing. I don't know what you guys are doing,
it's good,
but it's working. Just do it. Continue doing it, please, because so far we haven't seen, touch wood, a single negative or adverse reaction or whatsoever.
Wow.
Well, primarily that is because the paradigms that we have built and the specifics of the industry is such that we leave no room for mistake. We leave no room for adverse or any possible negative reaction. Okay, it has to be an utmost 100% safety first of all.
Because I think that's what most people want. Like, you want to tell them, I'm trying this experimental approach on you. The first thing to say is, how safe is this? Because I don't want to, risk my life, in this case, or my health, because most of them would be like, that's why I would rather go back to a tested methodology, because, at least I know how that works.
Well, experiments, I do experiments only on myself, frankly speaking, and nobody in the European wellness is doing any experiments and then will never ever do on any of the clients. It's only using methodologies which have strong evidence.
Evidence-based practice.
Scientific background first, scientific background. Without it, impossible. And evidence of successful, safe and successful use.
Testimonials and all.
Should there be a case where there is an evidence present, some level of evidence of safe and successful use, but there is a lacking component of the scientific foundation of how it works, it's gonna be undisputed no. Undisputed
no risk.
No way. It's a strong scientific basis, unequivocal, indisputable. Every paradigm in wellness should be built on some, and is built, at least when it's coming to the European wellness. I'm not answerable for other groups, other service providers, is always built on a strong biological law.
Great, that's very good to know.
Based on that, provided that there is a reference point, evidence, proof that that works, only that it becomes a goal. And last but not the least, the third component would be legislative part of it. Because you see, when I say it's a dynamic paradigm, it's a dynamic paradigm from 2 points of view. First of all, it's dynamic when it's coming to a specific person. Okay? The system, the program changes. It is an adaptable program, depending on the outcomes, intermediate outcomes. It is in a constant change. However, there is a sort of a basic paradigm. Okay? There are basic general protocols. Okay? The guidelines. For different countries, the guidelines slightly change because we have to take into consideration what is allowed, what is approved, what is not approved, in each particular country, what can be used, to what extent, so the customization of the center from country to country is based on the laws, the customs and the traditions of that particular country. Okay? And the people, and of course the people that it's targeting, so everything is taken into consideration, even the religious taboos, for instance, cultural some these predispositions and cultural taboos, because we pay a lot of attention to that, a lot of attention. This is very, very, very important. There has to be no minimize controversies and definitely nullify all possibility of any unhappy outcome.
Now, moving on to, so we've covered the both Ds, which is the diagnose and the detox,
and
right?
Detox.
Then we, of course, would move into repair and rejuvenate.
And repair and rejuvenate. Repair and rejuvenate.
Quite similar.
You start repairing yourself the moment when you're doing the detox, actually.
Because your body starts.
Yeah, there's so many procedures which are actually have both components. Okay. And repair and rejuvenate also, the borderline between it, so it's quite vague.
Yeah, they kind of complement each other and it sort of happens simultaneously, right?
It all happens simultaneously, absolutely right, it all happens simultaneously. There are certain, you can call them my favorites, certain therapies or components which I think are pretty much very crucial in well-being management and all, and especially when you design a program for somebody, and I do that myself. For instance, hyperbaric oxygenation.
This is to repair, right? Like muscle tears and all that. It sort of speeds up the process, I think.
You see, there are so many beneficial aspects to that. Starting with, yes, it is a performance enhancer. On a very basic, primitive level, it is the way how you can saturate your blood and your other tissues and the periphery with oxygen better. Because you inhale a slightly higher percentage of oxygen with a slightly increased pressure, so you saturate your blood. That's why it is used in toxicology, in toxicology medicine. That's why it is used in emergency medicine. That's why it is used in a specific conditions like the Caisson disease, in the divers, the scuba divers. But it is used in gangrenes, in cases of the peripheral arterial disease. It's used in cases of huge ulcers or non-healing wounds. When there's any form of deprivation of oxygenation, oxygen supply, the nutrient supply, the circulation, impaired circulation, it all helps tremendously. But there is not even scratching the surface. The data that we get now more and more is the data about the stimulation of the natural release and the maturation production of the stem cells, which is a crucial component of bioregeneration. There is data showing that hyperbaric oxygenation is capable of increasing the so-called Hayflick limit. It's the limit of how many times the cell can go through division. And that limit is defined by the length of the telomeres, the tips, the end tip, the tails, of the chromosomes, that at every division they shorten. And once that Hayflick limit is reached, then the cell's potential for division is sort of exhausted. So surprisingly, you can reverse that. To a certain extent, with the hyperbaric oxygenation, and you do it safely. It's not like the telomerase, because there's people start using the translational medicine went to that extent that that telomerase has been used as a therapeutic, including therapeutic protocols, which my personal opinion, I don't think that it's fully safe. It's like opening the Pandora's box, because of...
You're bombarding your body, right, with rays, and you're not sure.
No, it's not about that. The telomerase is a type of a substance that will keep on making those telomeres longer. But on one end, of course, a person will feel better, more energy and all, rejuvenated. But on the other end of it is the risk of the malignancy, because you might trigger that uncontrolled cellular growth and replication.
So it might cause cancer?
Well, there's a possibility.
A risk, that the risk is higher.
Yeah, the risk is higher, yeah. At least looking at the scientific part of it, yeah, there is definitely. Plus, if you ask, is there enough amount of strong evidence of safety? Of course not. There's hardly any evidence here. It's all purely speculative and theoretical.
But people just do it anyway just to see, because it's experimenting, right? You mentioned that.
Well, as long as you experiment on yourself, please feel free, but as long as you don't cross your own bubble and start experimenting on someone else, please don't do it, please.
Of course, that would be illegal then, Great, so we've covered a little bit on that. What about your thoughts on chelation though?
Chelation, well, first of all, chelation is very much, well, there are different methods of chelation, different protocols.
So you're talking about the different ways of doing it?
There are different protocols for chelation.